Motivation in Motion. Own your moment and get better today.
We're going to go ladies first. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where you're currently coaching.
My name's Darlean Calip, and I'm the head girls basketball coach at Sapulpa High School.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now for the second fiddle here in this, tell us who you are and where you coach.
I'm Brad Calip, and I'm assistant head football coach here at Owasso High School.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. This is going to be a little different. I want to just open up the discussion a little bit, and I know that we kicked it off a little bit. I've never had the opportunity to sit down with such a couple that's making an impact, so thank you for what you're doing. And I want to talk a little bit about Coach Faye Odell. So you've heard him speak a little bit. So tell me a little bit about what you remember about Coach and, maybe the impact that even played on you doing what you do today.
I first met him in 1981 when I met John Odell. And when I got to East Central University in 81, I mean, that's the first thing I looked for, who's doing FCA. And he kind of took me around up on his wing, John. Then finally, I went to a coach's clinic, and his dad was speaking at the coach's clinic, at the FCA breakfast. And that's the first time I heard him. And the dude always had a powerful message. Mm-hmm. That's what I always remember. That's his closing statement, his speech at the end was just so powerful, and I see where John get that from. Mm-hmm. And it just moved me. And I was raised. My dad was a Baptist minister. Okay. And I really didn't like church very much until I got into FCA. Okay. How that impacted my life, but I think those two really impacted my life as far as spiritual wise to kind of relate to the athlete part of it, the sports part of it, but those two really impacted my life and the growth and stuff in FCA. I give credit to those two.
Now that was when you were in college at East Central, right?
Yes.
And when did you guys meet and get married?
We met at college, and I got to East Central in 1983. Okay. And we didn't get married till 1990, so we dated a long time. Yeah. And
you had to make sure you had to vet him out fully.
I did. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make sure he was a real deal before
I like it.
Committed.
I like it. Any good coach, you got to keep player around. Got to make sure they got the fundamentals.
Exactly.
That's
Point
great.
Guard, quarterback. On campus. So that's where we met. And we had some dates at FCA, back in the day. Yeah, so it was good.
First date to FCA, little church probably sprinkled in there.
Yep, exactly.
Now, what was your upbringing in the church?
I grew up in a Baptist church as well. Okay. And my story's kind of like Brad's. I didn't really like church because I felt like it was forced upon me. Okay. But then when I went to my roommate in college, and we didn't have FCA, or I didn't know of FCA at my high school. I went to Okima High School. And so when I got to college, my roommate, at her high school, they had FCA. And so she was going to go to one of the meetings, and she said, hey, why don't you go with me? And I'm like, She said, just come on and just see what you think. So I did, and kind of like Brad, it was just from a different perspective that I began to enjoy learning about the Bible and how it could affect and help your life through the athletic standpoint. And so that's when I really started to love FCA and started to attend FCA all the time. And I just kind of, it's just from a different perspective that, I better understood and it better related to me from that athletic perspective.
Now, I know you were a heck of a player in high school and then went on to college. Now, where are you currently coaching?
I currently coach at Sapulpa High School.
At Sapulpa High School.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Girls basketball.
Girls basketball.
Okay. Varsity girls basketball.
Yes, sir.
All right. How many years have you done that?
I just finished my 18th year at Sapulpa.
Wow.
Total, I've been coaching about 30 years, but just finished my 18th year.
We're going to have to get some IDs. I do not think you guys are old enough to have been coaching that long. Yes. 30 years.
Yes.
And 18 at Sapulpa.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
How do you incorporate your faith into your coaching?
Well, first of all, I tell people all the time, I think it's important that you know who you are as a person. And I know who I am as a person. I know why I'm the person I am, and I know I wouldn't be the person that I am without Jesus Christ. And so I think that's very important. And so when I coach, I feel like you can see that in my coaching, the way I approach things, the way I address situations. I'm also the FCA sponsor on campus, so that allows me to be able to share my faith and my character through that avenue as well, because as you know, it's hard to get your Christian values in the public school. But my administration is super supportive, and so that's one way I do it. I'm also able to bring in ministers, local ministers from our community, to do team devotion, or just talk to my kids before games, just maybe 10, 12 minutes. And I let them choose the topic because I want it to be from their perspective, but it does relate to my kids and maybe the game situation. So those are a couple of ways that I'm able to do it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, you're here on this campus.
Yes.
But I noticed you were on a different campus here recently. So what did I want to ask a transition from Booker T to here, and maybe the decision you made to do that? It's a funny story. Okay, we don't believe in funny stories, so I think that discounts our faith, Coach.
This is a
Coach,
story that
I don't believe in coincidences.
God turned out. I went to Bill on this one. I became a head coach in 2016 at Booker T. Washington.
Right.
And was very successful. The first year, we got beat in the first round. I know we're going to be pretty good the next year. And in 17, we won it. And if you don't know much about Booker T, you'll have to apply to get in there. So you just got to apply an application to get in there. When I started my first year, and my second year was like almost 80 players. And then my third year, it dwindled to like 40. And then 2020, it dropped down to about 39 players. So my last year there, I had 39 players. I was the athletic director.
Wow.
And
I had no idea.
I had no help. And I remember Darlean said, you probably need to get out of there. And it just kind of ran me ragged, really. And I was like, I remember the last game in the playoff, we played Del City. And we barely got beat. And I was the last one kind of get on the bus, and we had food for the kids. I'm like, is there any food left over? And like, Coach, we gave it all out. I'm like, oh my God, they can't keep a meal for the head coach. So the whole time I was like, man, Lord, you just got to get me out of this situation. I really don't want to quit. And I'll be darned, about 3 weeks later, Bill called me. He said, I'm looking for a secondary coach. I'm like, now I know one, my twin brother, but he has cancer. That's the only way. He said, no, I kind of want you on my staff. I'm like,
wow.
And I told Darlene about it, and I told Bill, I said, well, let me think about it. And I told Darlene, she said, what are you thinking about? You didn't go tell him yes. So I told him yes, and me and Bill go back, because when I got hired in 16, he was on my staff. He called me and said, hey, I want to help you out. So he's on my staff for about like 3 months. And then he left and went to Fayetteville. And we've been knowing each other a long time. And so that circle, I mean, we just kind of went around a little circle and met again. So that's how it transpired. He called me out of the blue, and I'm just like, it had to be a godsend deal. Because
no, it was a godsend.
I'm just sitting like, I need to get out of here. And he called me, and here I am. I mean, going on 4 years later.
I haven't done much on the couch, but just listen. So at our other filmings, we were on a couch. Here I'm in a very comfy chair, okay? But here's what I'm going to tell us, is I don't believe in accidents. I believe that the world allows people of faith, they want to discount our living God today.
Yes.
And he clearly, and probably through prayer for people that cared about you and knowing what was best for you, took care of your situation for you, right? And so I'm going to challenge you to never say that was an accident.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Through faith. What were those discussions like when you saw how frustrated he was coaching and doing his passion? What were those?
It was from my perspective, it was more of a supportive standpoint, and just trying to get him to understand that he has a bigger purpose than where he was. And I just felt like he was just, I think the male ego, male pride came in at some point, because after the first year, and after seeing everything, all the responsibilities that he was having to take on, I was just like, it's too much. It's absolutely too much. And so I even talked to him about possibly considering not doing the athletic side, the director side, just to kind of relieve some of the responsibilities. And of course he said, no, I want to do it another year. And I said, it's up to you. But I said, from what I'm seeing, it's affecting your personality when you come home. Financially, we don't need it financially. So if you're concerned with that part of it, that's not an issue, And so I just kind of wanted him to see it from every avenue, hoping that he would finally make that decision that would be best for him as a person, from a health perspective. I just felt like he wasn't in a position where he had the spiritual support. Because he was bumping heads with a lot of personnel, things like that. They just weren't on the same page, and I'm just like, you've never been in a program like that. Why are you staying in that situation where you're not growing?
Yeah, so let's ask, why did you stay in that situation?
You're not being appreciated.
Let's learn from that. You got great counsel here.
I know. To me, it was all about the kids, because I started FCA there, and wherever I've been, I always got involved in FCA. And they never had FCA there, and I started it. And our first meeting, we had like 10 or 11. And when I left, it was up to about like 45 or 50.
Wow.
And I was seeing that growth, the spiritual growth, but the other demons around me was kind of pulling me down. And that's kind of, the daggers and all that. And I just try to keep the faith and like, Lord, this help me, this give me strength and wisdom and understanding. And soon later, that last year, man, and in 2020, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done.
So God opens the door, and now you're here.
Yes.
So what does it feel like now when he comes home?
Oh, it's so different. And plus, you just see it in his personality. You see his personality coming back out of what I'm accustomed to. But you also, from my perspective, I see the men that are around him. And they're good men.
Yeah.
They're here for the right purpose. Yeah. He's got people that have the same characters, integrities that he has. And so it just he's himself now.
Yeah.
And from a wide perspective, that's what you want. You want them to be in a good, positive environment where they're growing as men, and we're still growing as people. And but you also want to have people good. I always tell people, surround yourself with good people. Yeah. And that's what he's done by coming here.
Yeah. I thank you so much for sharing that. I only know what those dinner conversations were like when you weren't listening.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But there's a couple biblical truths, right? Iron sharpens iron. And I hope that someday I have a marriage where it's someone I want to go to war with, right? And she went to war with you on your behalf.
Yes.
And making sure that even though you could see the good that was coming out of it, there was something so much better for you, right? And it was putting harm in what you guys have built. I had the privilege to talk to one of your guys, fans on the way up here, if you will, and they love what you guys are doing for the kingdom and how you guys are breathing into youth and young people. And so for her to see that it was distracted, even with the good stuff, that God had something so much better. So I really appreciate you guys sharing. Let's talk a little bit about, okay, you get to go first this time, all right?
Okay.
What's your style of coaching? Are you a yeller? Are you intense? Or you do it all?
No, I'm more of a teacher. That the older you get, the more mellow you get.
Really?
I just finished up
Okay.
30. Well, year 35
Okay.
coaching, and that's the yelling stuff. That's not my style. I'm more of a teacher type. Now, when I do yell, it's serious.
You better listen.
Because when they hear me yell, they like, Coach Calip, it's serious.
Okay.
So I'm that type of coach right there. But man, I'm just a energetic guy every day, bringing energy, and I just want to be that teacher on the field. I'm the yeller. It's not me. I can't.
Now, what's your role here now? Also, what's your coach?
I'm an assistant head coach, and I coach the running backs.
The running backs.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you do have to have the energy.
Yes.
I've always thought there's certain positions on a football. I don't know why. Like the running backs coach, that that guy's got to be almost like his own hype crew.
Yes.
You know, to get those athletes in the right direction, and so you get it's a talent pool too.
Yes.
So you kind of have to match their talent with some energy.
Yes.
So okay, I'm gonna have to come watch practice now.
Okay,
for sure.
good.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your style?
My style is just like what we're doing right now, just talking.
Really?
Yes, very mellow.
Okay.
Don't get excited very often. And my philosophy is what you see in practice is what you should see in game time. I don't want to change my personality in a game because my kids will be like, what's going on? Kids just in a panic. So no, I teach, I talk just like this, same tone. I do have a stern tone or look that my kids know if I say that, if they hear that tone or they see that look. It's kind of like that mother child.
Yeah, you're like,
you know,
don't do that.
Exactly. So they know, but no, I'm, there again. I don't want to change my character to win or lose. By raising my voice or not being who my kids are comfortable with.
Okay. Now, how have you guys handled the jump ball of not being on the same campus? I've seen some husband and wives that have done this, but you guys have a pretty dynamic situation. You guys have your success trees going on, and I know it's a drive from each other, but it's 30, 35 minutes. What's that family dynamic look like?
Right now it's not so bad because we're empty nesters. When we had kids, it was a little bit different. But I coached my daughter, he coached our son, so one of us was always with our child. But just in our coaching profession over the years, we have never sheltered what we do from our kids. They were with us on the bus to games, they were at practices, and so we've never sheltered them from anything that we do. So it's kind of been to me, it's been a smooth transition. The distance is a little bit different. He's wearing one color, I'm wearing the other, but so we have a lot of colors in our house.
Sweatshirt. The sweatshirts in those closets pretty full, huh?
But no, it's worked out really well because we've always been very supportive of each other and our professions because this is what we love to do. And so we always want to be supportive and just change those colors when and it's seasonal basketball and football. So
that helps. That helps a little bit.
Helps,
that's probably not a bad transition. Right when football's in, go grab the wife's sweatshirt color and start heading over to a game and taking a little break from it.
I kind of do that. And I know some of the basketball girls. They're like, "Well, who are you going to cheer for?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to probably cheer for my wife."
Yeah.
Unless you have a sofa, I can come over and sleep on that.
Let me tell you how this works.
Exactly. But our kids kind of know, and like I said, it's been a good transition. I got to coach my son. She got to coach our daughter, and man, they just coach his kids. And we just took them to practice, and we just never meant to be. Now we empty nesters now, and so I support her during her season. She support me in my season, and I know when October 1 comes, it's rock and roll for her.
Okay.
And I know I got to get my own meal when I go home. She cooked early in the year, but when October 1 comes, I got to pick up something from fast food.
All right.
That,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. How have you guys grown your faith doing this journey? Especially with the time restrictions. What's that look like? And not just hey, we go to church together and that's been a commitment. Like, what do you guys do specifically that you do that you think's preserved your faith and your marriage in this?
Well, my thing is, I talk to God all the time during the day, just whenever I need conversation, need just thank you, all the time. So I feel like, I have a relationship with him and I can talk to him whenever I want. I do, of the mornings on my phone, I have a Bible on my phone that I have I do my Bible study or my, quote work of the morning and just through FCA on campus, you're always doing things there, getting ready to, for your kids. And when you meet with your kids, we meet there every other Wednesday, and so just do those things and just, just my daily conversation with him.
Me, I just do my devotion in the morning. I have to do that to get started. I just lost a twin brother 3 years ago, cancer, and then
I'm sorry.
Lost my cousin 4 years ago. That's from a blood clot. So that has been a spiritual journey for me because you just want to ask the question like, why? First, why am I still here? Why are they gone? And so it's been a spiritual journey for me. But I just ask every morning for strength. in wisdom, and that's guided me through the day, and that's been so assuring for me every morning when I just get down and finish my devotion. I mean, I'm okay, and I ask for safety when I drive from 169 here every morning, like I don't have to correct anyone, but so it's been tough, but man, I just trust God. I know one day I'm gonna reunite with those guys, and that's the good thing about it. You get this human instinct, like, God dang, why? But that's where we want to go. That's where we want to be with them. They at a place where, like, come on, I'm waiting on you.
Yeah.
And I know Brian and Neil wouldn't want me to mope around.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, go coach your kids, man.
Yeah.
Go coach your kids. Don't worry about us. We okay. Just when you get ready, the expiration date is up. We're ready to come see you. You come home to us.
Now, I heard a rumor about your family commitment and how you ended up at East Central was you didn't want to go to the big schools because you wanted to play with your brother and your cousin.
Yeah,
that true?
That would, yeah.
I mean, could have played at the University of Oklahoma potentially for a guy by the name of Barry Switzer, and you said no. It's about playing with my brother,
my family,
and your family.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he wouldn't sign him. He wouldn't sign him. I'm like, well, I'm going. And the deal about it, Brian and Neil, they were mad at me. What are you doing? Don't worry about us.
Really?
Like, I said, dude, we did this since the third grade. That we put our hand together, like we're gonna play together, and that's what we're gonna do. So
they were really giving you a hard time.
Yes,
like
they were mad.
Like you do realize this is the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
Brother, we'll figure it out.
You're the best triple option quarterback. I mean, I know that, but I want y'all guys to be with me. And so I just turned those guys down. And I shared it with my guys because a lot of these guys get caught up on this D1 stuff. And East Central back in the day was in their high school.
Yeah.
I said, sorry.
Oh, you guys were really good.
Yeah. I was like, it didn't matter to me as long as I was with my
And you still
family.
got to play some professional football?
Yes. Yeah.
So it didn't stop you from pursuing, a childhood dream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, God just took care of me and my brothers, and we did well. And here's a kicker on top of that. I would have never met this lady right here.
Wow.
So that's
our kingdom would look a little different, maybe.
Yes.
I love it when someone described you as a Hall of Fame couple. Now I feel it. So I appreciate you guys just sharing a little bit. Now your son played at my alma mater, UCO.
Yep.
Yeah. So what was that like to watch him go play college ball?
It was good. He narrowed down to, I was kind of proud of him because he narrowed down to Pitt State and UCO.
Okay. Don't say Pitt State out loud around me, but I got to
I know, and they were rival. Okay. He said, Dad, he said, I kind of like Pitt State. They're probably a better team, but UCO have a better criminal justice program.
Okay.
So that's why he went to UCO.
They do have a great, they really do. The forensic department and all that is.
He wanted to be a police officer, and I'm like, good. At least I kind of, if he just thought the football part of it, he would have went to Pitt State probably. Okay. Because they were, I mean.
Especially at that time.
Yes, at that time. So I was kind of proud of him on that, and he graduated, and I think he's going to his fourth year in police force, in Tulsa police officer.
Up here in Tulsa?
Yep. In Tulsa.
That's awesome.
And so we're really proud of him. He kind of got in at a bad time. I'd pray every night over him for just protection. He got in when all this Black Lives Matter, the protests and all that. I'm like, come on, this is not a good time to be a police officer.
Just the stress load.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he has adjusted and he loves it, and he's. I mean, we need great police officers, and he's a good one.
I'm gonna pray for his safety too.
Yes.
We need good men and women.
Yes.
Just in service roles in our country, and I think post-COVID, I think there's a lot of great people that are not choosing to do that, and so we need to. And a lot of them come from our athletic programs.
Yes.
They come from team environments. Right. They come from that, and so that's kind of one of the reasons when I got asked to do this that I wanted to encourage the coaches that were doing this. I'm sitting here just learning from you guys, but I'm going to take some of these nuggets and keep them close. Let's talk a little bit about. So you've gone to empty nesters, right? You've transitioned. What's the off season look like for you guys? What's springtime look like for your family now?
Well, go ahead, Darlean. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a spring sport right now. I'm not I'm used to doing something. So in the past, I have coached track in the past, but last year I didn't do that. I'm also an assistant athletic director over at Sepulpa.
Okay.
So I do some of the administrative things
you
that
have
I do.
jobs to fill and
Yes.
people. Yeah, I got you.
But it also gives you some time to decompress, with your season and just kind of mentally get yourself. I'm always thinking ahead, so I'm always thinking of things I could have done different, just making adjustments on some things. So, the downtime, it's kind of, for us, I don't think we ever have any downtime because we're constantly doing something still within the school system.
I got you.
So.
Yeah, I'm the 7th and 8th grade head track coach.
Oh, okay.
I got put in that situation by my athletic director, Doug Field. Like 3 years ago, he said, I guess the track coach then was pregnant and she had to be bedridden. And he was looking for a track coach. And so he looked at a resume, because I coached track for like 20 years. And he's like, Brad Calip can do it. So I kind of helped out a little bit. The next year, I'm like, well, I really don't want to do that. And then next thing I know, hey, we need you to be the head track coach. So and I'm like, Darlene, track that's my second sport. Just to kind of get away from this right here. It's more relaxing and stuff. And
track has a different pace to it.
Yeah,
it's
different. More relaxing. The practice is more relaxing, and when you go to track meet, you just let them do their thing. But it kind of allows us to have time together a little bit. I kind of go support some of her spring stuff and so forth. But it kind of balances out. At the end of the day, we just sometimes when she started October 1, it's like a revival day. We just like we high five and see each other later, and
Yeah, what's that encouragement look like for you when she gets really busy? What do you do? What are some of the things that you do, knowing the bandwidth is really stressed?
Well, I just know that she just don't do a good job with what she does, and we've been doing this so long. I just kind of know, and that's when October 1's hit, man. I'm still in football.
You still got a month or maybe more left, depending.
So it's like she's in her scrimmages and stuff, and she still kind of support me. I'm still practicing until like 5 or 6, and until we get beat out or win it, and then I go support her. And I used to ref basketball. I kind of gave that up a little bit, but it's been we just kind of balanced it out, where that. In 35 years, I have had friends that have divorced because they spent too much time, and you probably witnessed it too. And that never been the indicator with us. We just kind of balanced our time with our kids, and now at empty nest, we just kind of balanced our time. And I always call her, like, you want something to eat? Don't they bring you something? Just kind of check on her.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. So do you get the random text message in the middle of it?
No, he's a talker.
Oh,
so he
he's a talker.
Yes.
Wait. She says that like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He does. He'll call too. I'm not a talker.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I have to or need to.
Okay.
He likes to talk, and he likes to talk on the phone. I'm not a phone talker either. If I call you, I'm calling you for a reason, and boom, it's over. He calls. He's 2 blocks down the road, from the house, and but he's a talker. But in reference to the previous question you asked him, we don't bring our coaching issues, or we don't bring those home.
Right.
I don't think if you were to come into my house, you probably wouldn't know I was a basketball coach, because I don't really ever talk about it. There's really no need to. I have a gym, I have an office, it all stays there. So we every now and then I'll say something, even when I coach my daughter, but we don't bring it home. Home is home, and we take care of things at home that are at home, but we really don't bring our issues, professions, things like that. We hardly even have any stuff on the walls in our house that would let you know that we coached, except I have a lot of crosses and things like that, but we don't have a lot of basketball stuff, a lot of football stuff, honors, awards, things like that. You won't see that in our house, because our house is our home, and that's what we want.
There's probably a very valuable, we've taken some, I'm going to call it the survival tool chest of some of these coaches, and I think I'm going to bottle that one up, Darlene, because I think that is the issue, right? Especially with technology and huddle and all these live streaming.
Yes.
I watch all these young coaches, and I'm actually going to remember we're sitting here at Owasso, and I'll never forget a comment I heard. I overheard this as a player that Coach Blankenship told another coach. He's like, if we can't get it done by 6:30, maybe we need to do a different profession.
Right.
And I remember hearing that as a 16-year-old, and I'm like, well, they're not going to go home and spend the next 4 hours watching film. They've watched it all day.
Mm-hmm.
They've got us our practice script. They have that, and it resonated on me. And I watch all these young coaches think that watching an extra 4 hours of film or doing that, and I'm not saying that you don't put in great work. I do believe as Christians we're asked to give excellence, but excellence is in everything,
Right.
including our home and our family.
Exactly.
And I watch these young coaches, so we're bottling that one up. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That could be a recipe why this is a Hall of Fame right here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we that's what we did when we had our kids. We just never, like our coach Braden, she coached Bryce. We just never talked about it. And I have seen at Jinx, it's probably the worst place I've ever been. Those dads were just like crazy. But our coach Braden is like any other of my kids. But when we got in the car and got in the house, we never talked football. It's just like, because I wanted that father-son relationship.
Yep.
And we have it. Bryce and Darlean, they have it, because that's not important to us. You know what I'm saying? We want them to be great kids, and I want to be a great father figure to my daughter and my son. That's right. When it's over, it's over, and we want to be home, and we want to be a family, and we're not going to talk. And I got inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame in 2003. I don't even mention, I don't have nothing about that. And kids kind of Google me like, you in the College Football Hall of Fame? I'm like, yeah. Why you didn't tell me? I'm like, why am I supposed to tell you that? I just that's something I just don't talk about.
Yeah, I argued with my daughter one day because she said because she could find me on the internet, I was somebody. And I was like, well, I kind of thought I was a dad. And I thought I was somebody before you ever had to look that up on Safari or whatever you're on Google or whatever. And it is interesting, right? I think a lot of that, though, I hope at least for me, and it sounds like for both of you, is our faith, right?
Yes.
I mean, really my success is pursuit of the cross, right? And I'm going to fail, which is why we have grace, right? But that's really what I want my daughter to see.
Yes.
Now, I love when my teammates or men that I coach with come around and we can tell stories, but it's really the family atmosphere that I love that we're around, right?
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, we're not talking the sport.
Right.
It's like, hey, do you remember when we had to bring that kid aside? And I mean, we had a situation on one of the campuses I was at. I felt like we were raising this young adult as a staff, right? And so when we get around every once in a while, we're sharing that story. We're not talking about how many games we won or who we lost to.
Exactly.
Now, how do you guys go about that when you decide to pour into someone, not just on the court or on the field, but when it becomes that additional stand in the gap? Do you guys do that collectively, or because you're on different campuses, are you doing that mentoring on your own, or has there been some young people that guys have stood in the gap as a couple for?
I don't know that there's any that we've had to address, together. I know just individually, especially with us being on different campuses. Being a coach, to me, that's my least responsibility or least role, because you deal with, you have experiences with different types of kids.
Right.
Different kids, their home lives are different, and so to me, I address those situations differently, but because you can't address a kid the same way. And so, you've been there as that mother figure, you've been there as a father figure, because a lot of kids you deal with now are being reared by single parents or grandparents, and so you kind of have to play that neutral role, because if a grandparent is raising them, then you have that big age gap. So there's a lot of roles and responsibilities that we have as coaches that to me, it's not of a coach, it's more of a mother figure, more of a counselor, more of a big sister, and just different roles, and you just address those differently based on the situation and the circumstances that they're experiencing. I take pride in those. I tell people my job is only about X and O's is about 20% of
Right.
what I do. It's all the other things. And I relish those and I enjoy those because that's what I want. I want to be there for them, not only as their coach, but whatever role I need to. You know, I still reach out to former players. They still reach out to me. You know, one of the biggest challenges I see my kids is, you know, once they go to college and they finish playing, Coach, what do I do now? And, you know, just helping them get to that next hurdle, and that it's okay to somewhat be lost. I mean, it's life.
Yeah.
It's one of those life phases that you're getting ready to go into, but it's okay. You know, everybody's done it. I've been through it. You're going to be okay. And just helping them get through those different phases. You know, when they have kids, you know, it's okay. We're here for you, still here for you. It's a huge challenge, but you're going to be just fine. And just kind of helping them in just whatever way we possibly can based on whatever circumstance they're facing at that particular time.
That's interesting. So where's the next chapter for this couple? Just staying put where you're at?
You know what? I just, like I said, every morning, man, I pray for strength and wisdom, like what I want to do. I'm definitely in the fourth quarter.
Come on now.
2 minutes. I mean that.
I'm gonna have to go back and look up at that 2003.
Yes.
I'm still questioning both of your ages.
Yeah, 60 years. I'm 60 and she's 35, and I'm
good call. Very good. Very
but,
check mark.
It's been a great journey, man, and like I said, FC has been a great tool for me, and it's changed my life, and they're at the 8th grade center. I'm gonna be in charge of it now since Coach Darlean, who was with me, he's gonna be at the high school, so I'm in charge of it, and I just like to see those kids to see something other than me being a coach. And when they see the FCA part of me, they're like, okay, he's just not a coach. He's a Christian man, and they can. And a lot of them come and talk to me, tell me their problems, and that's why I kind of like about it. Then that's why I can share the word with them, because I really don't want to throw them outside of that. But when they come to FC, and we average about 55, 45 kids, every Thursday morning, and it's pretty awesome. They're at the 8th grade center.
That is awesome. I love it. I'm going to ask you a specific question because I kind of know a little bit about it. How does it feel to be on a staff that's led by a Christian man?
Oh, it was. That's one thing I was excited about, because I knew what I was getting into. Because we worked. He showed me a picture. We worked a FCA camp at Oklahoma State in 1984. I was a senior in college, and Bill, I think he was.
And you still believe in accidents?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Right.
I mean, and Bill just right there. I mean, so we go. That's how far we go back with our Christian faith and the brotherly walk. Man, it's like, so it's awesome to be here, and the good thing that he does about it. We have like an M&M group on Wednesday where. We just get away from the football. We have a topic. Our coach talks about that topic, and you just kind of talk about your Christian faith, and you share about your family, and we have a specific topic. We go over adversity or something, and just another part of us that the kids kind of open up to us. We have our offensive players and defensive players, and kind of mix them up, and he does a good job of doing that, and just kind of let the kids know that. It's not about X's and O's.
Yeah.
It ain't about raising the football. You want to do that, but do his life lessons. Life lessons.
It's interesting now just having the privilege to interview so many Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame coaches, and all the things that come with it. There's a very obvious theme. The ones that cared about the athlete the most had a whole lot of success.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking... I mean, I'm getting chills. I mean, I've sat across legends that have been inducted into Hall of Fames, and none of them went, well, my record was this, and my losses, it had nothing to do with that. It's like, no, we had a coach sit down and talk about how he got into it because he came from a divorced home and he wanted to change his legacy, and coaches impacted his life. And you're like, think of the trees that have changed of coaching legacy from a tragedy, if you will, or a difficult situation in his life, and now he's paid it forward for all these years. You guys are paying it forward. So
Yes.
This is so great. I had no idea how much I was going to be honored by meeting both of you. So thank you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
It's a
very much.
pleasure, and thank you.
Thank
It's an
you.
honor to be here and be able to share our story. 'Cause,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
'cause, you know, faith is huge for us, and it's such an impact in our lives, and we want and enjoy sharing that with our student athletes. And I think that's a huge part of who we are and why we do this. And I tell people all the time, I said, I'm not afraid to share my faith with you or tell you where I am and why I'm where I am. As I said, I understand that, and I'm not afraid to share that you know, with you. And I think a lot of people are afraid to share, you know.
Well, I can't think of a better way to wrap this up, but with prayer. You guys okay with that?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's pray it up.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, we come to you on your behalf. We don't believe in accidents. I don't believe that you put people here to go do this, change lives. I don't believe that any of this is accident. I don't believe that meeting this incredible couple who is living their life, and I pray that they'll do it for another decade or maybe 2 decades. Whatever your calling is in their life, dear Lord, I'll continue to pray that you'll make an impact through them. Let them continue to grow in their marriage and their strength. Let them breathe into now other coaches as they transition into a different part of their life. Let just even the stories that they share today help the next generation of coaches and maybe the next couple that could be like them that would go out and change so many lives. Dear Lord, I believe that you are living, active, and strong today. And in your Son's name, amen.
Amen.
All right. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Love you.
Love you, man.